Evening, welcome to the LFC transfer room. Welcome to Talking Reds. I've just absolutely thrown off there. That's bad habits. Bad habits there, Reese. Obviously, the LFC transfer room I used to work for before. Welcome to Talking Reds. Welcome, Reese, Naj, tonight. Welcome to the chat. Welcome, everyone. And in this news story today, in the news episode today, we've got a lot to talk about again. The same players over and over again. Wirtz, Frimpong, Huijsen, anyone else? Boys, anyone else? There's so many names being linked to Liverpool in recent weeks and recent days. But these three specifically have finally starting to get moved on now. Frimpong is close to Liverpool, according to the reports today. Paul Joyce, David Ornstein, they're all coming out now with Frimpong. This one is looking likely to get over the line in I'd say coming weeks. I want to say coming weeks. I know it can't be official until July, but I think we will get certainly a deal in place in the coming days or weeks for Jeremie Frimpong for Bayer Leverkusen. Florian Wirtz is still a very, very good chance to join Liverpool. Regarding with Bayern Munich, Leverkusen might not want to sell to Bayern Munich. That is the words right now and the reports right now. Dean Huijsen, a trigger has the release clause has been triggered by a team, and we'll tell you who it is in just a few moments. So let's start then, boys, with the big news with Jeremie Frimpong. David Ornstein himself. Liverpool are advancing in the talks to sign Jeremie Frimpong by Bayer Leverkusen with an increase in confidence from the players' camp that a deal for him to move to Anfield is to be struck. Leverkusen are aware of the situation, which they and Frimpong expect to be resolved swiftly once the Bundesliga season has been concluded on Saturday. Do you think that is it? Do you think that's what we're waiting for now? Is just Bundesliga finishing Saturday? That's the final time. Probably next week we'll hear that possibly done. Do you think?
Probably, yeah. I think so. I think as soon as it comes to fruition the other day, I thought that we would probably sign him anyway. I think it was sort of good possibility. I think because the release clause and the price, I think that's why it was so Liverpool to do it. Let's just say that because that release clause is not high, is it? Really, in terms
And we're still doing it over months, though. We're still doing it over years. We're not doing it all in one instalment.
Clan FC, as always. But listen, I'm not bothered though because he's a good player, and I think it's a good move. I think if Slot wants him, then I'm happy. Well, I'm happy anyway. But I mean, if Slot thinks he can do what he can do with him, then that's fine by me.
Reece, Paul Joyce has confirmed it as well. When Paul Joyce usually puts his name in the hat, he only uses it when it's a guaranteed winner. He only picks odds on favourites as Paul Joyce. This is what he does. Liverpool are expected to approach by Leverkusen and formally trigger the £30 million release clause that will make Jeremie Frimpong the first signing of the club's summer recruitment drive. Are you excited about this? I'm slightly excited about this signing, but again, it's just the fitting in terms of defensive wise, and it's quite of a bit of a worry. But are you too worried?
I'm not worried because I think the way Slot's going to use him, a lot of the time people nowadays in football, people look at too much. The player has to 100% fit into this, whereas it doesn't necessarily have to be like that. The manager might use him in a certain way. From what I've read, it said obviously he's going to be competition with Bradley, which makes sense. And then also, I'm sure I read something that he may at times even provide cover sometimes for Salah. That might not be what everyone always wants to hear, but he is very good going forward. Obviously, he's not great defensively, but Trent wasn't great defensively. So what I would say is he's quite quick to be able to get back. I think he'll be able to go on the overlap, which will allow Salah to come in more, which means he'll be more deadly because he'll be able to come in more towards goal. And what else was I going to say? I think he's a good player. Obviously, like Naya said, in terms of the price, it's kind of right up Liverpool street because quite cheap. So even if he was to flop, he's quite cheap. Obviously, the Dutch connection, you've got Gravenberch there, you've got Gakpo, you've got Virgil. Obviously, you've got Slot as well. So you've seen how he spoke. They've obviously done their research on him in terms of his character. I said this before that I did think it's highly likely that it would be him to replace Trent, and it looks like that's going to be the first of a few.
Now I'm thinking about it, right? And I've always said Kyle Walker's very, very overrated defensively. I've always said that. As soon as he lost his pace, you saw how unaware he was of his teammates and of his opponents at times. Do you think it could be another Kyle Walker now? Talking about Kyle Walker specifically, but I had a lot on his pace, but Frimpong's better going forward than Kyle Walker. And Kyle Walker's seen as like the best right back of all time in the Premier League.
It's because of what he's won, not because necessarily for me as a player. I think it's because of his accomplishments. I think even with Kyle Walker, what's weird with him is I think when he was at Tottenham, he was actually good at going forward. If you look at how Tottenham used him, but then when he came to City, he kind of more got used. He kind of just played to his strengths in terms of the pace. I think he improved him. He did improve him a little bit defensively, but I've always said it's that pace that's always got him out of jail. And when he would lose that, then he's going to have kind of problem. A little bit similar maybe with the Frimpong, but I do think Frimpong's a lot better going forward. That's what I think. And he's got the pace. And obviously, similar to Kyle Walker, I say he's got the pace to be able to get himself out of jail if he does make a mistake.
Yeah.
So should be interesting.
Who starts, Frimpong or Connor? I'm going to put that to you, Naj. I think it depends on the opponent for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think I spoke about this the other day when I was speaking about like the benefit of having both of them is the fact like you've got Conor Bradley. We know that he can't do a full 90 minutes because he works so hard in a game. But like I think I mentioned, in terms of, when Scott likes to drop into that back three, take Konate off, Gravenberg comes in. We've seen it a lot this season. That outlet for the right side would be Frimpong. I think that would fit perfect. I think that's sort of a way probably Slot's look at it. Then you can push Salah further up. Frimpong covers that side. I think there's so much benefits to signing them. Like having both of them, like Conor Bradley's probably a little bit more a rounded right back, let's say. He's probably a bit more rounded right back. He's not perfect yet, but he's very, very good. He's the potential of him. I think he's got a very high ceiling, Conor Bradley. And Frimpong, he's just, I mean, with the pace thing towards like Kyle Walker and stuff, like Frimpong is like, he's fast and he's got an engine. So I think Slot may have looked at that sort of thing. I mean, without disrespecting Trent in any way, shape or form. I mean, he's done it to our club very, very recently, but I feel like Frimpong, of watching him play, like most games I've seen him playing, he gets back. He does get back when he's playing right wing back. He gets back. None of this like half-assed walking back that we've seen off a certain number 66 over the last couple of months. Listen, if he's got pace and he gets back, it saves Konate as you have done it. Just having an extra man in there, I think that's the benefit. But like I said the other day, the attacking, who's the closest person to attacking, like who's the closest to attacking right back in the world? Who is it? It's Frimpong. We're losing one. Let's go and get the other one.
Yeah.
I really think it's no brainer. In terms of output, like Frimpong has got the same. In fact, he's got a better output this year than Trent. But yeah, like you're losing an attacking fullback, you're getting an attacking fullback. I don't see the negatives of it really.
And if the worst thing comes to worse is if Bradley's on the bench, you could just change it up anyway. And Arne Slot likes to change it up mid game anyway and change the tactics. If it's not working with Wirtz in a certain game, he'll put Bradley on during the game. Hopefully, it don't cost the game before Bradley comes on. But again, if it's not working with Bradley on the pitch, and we need to switch up a bit like he did against Fulham when he put Gravenberch in a back three sort of thing, and we just went for it. Someone like Frimpong on the bench absolutely is perfect for that because you don't want to be too defensive in a game where we have to go. Depending on the game, I think, like I said, like Paolo said there, who starts Frimpong or Connor, depending on the game, number one, and depending on how the game's going, number two is who if they come off the bench or not. Connor's on 10k a week. FSG might put Frimpong as starter, and they don't have to increase Connor's wages. 4D chess from John Henry there. 4D chess indeed. Dean Huijsen is to the biggest club in the world. Here we go. I'm glad he didn't say the actual club's name there, Phil, because you'd have ruined the whole surprise and you'd have been swearing. That club's name is now banned from this channel. But yeah, Sky Sports did actually confirm that another reason why we're getting Frimpong is because he can play multiple positions. Right back, right winger. Reece, we touched on it last night. AFCON for Salah. Does Frimpong automatically cover that right wing?
Potentially. It looks highly likely. The only disappointing thing is it doesn't look like they're going to get someone in to give Salah competition, which is frustrating. It's nice that you have the option with Frimpong, but that shouldn't be the second choice. That should be like the third choice in case the second choice, who's maybe the up and coming to replace Salah, is not available. So from reading it, that looks like what they're going to do, which is like typical FSG where they cut corners, So yeah.
So I'll go on to what Ford Focus did say, if that's the real car himself. Breaking full agreement for Dean Huijsen signing Real Madrid. Real Madrid have triggered the £50 million release clause and are working on to finalise the signing of Bournemouth centre-back. Talks are in personal terms advanced and reps in Real Madrid are close to transfer happening. So Dean Huijsen's now off the cars, Naj. And I mentioned last night, what happens? Was it last night or the other night when you was on? I mentioned about Kanate. And I don't want to, in fact, I spoke about it last night myself as well when I was on my own. And I don't want to leave this Kanate situation too late. Because if we leave it too late, we're going to run out of players to bring in if we do. He either needs, this summer, we either need to sign him on or sell him. Because if that either don't happen and he lets his run his contract down, he's going next year for free. But if we sell him too late in the window, Huijsen's gone, someone else could go.
I mean,
win no man's land.
To be honest, I'll be totally honest with you. I'm not bothered that Huijsen's gone to Real Madrid, because it means like if that was always his goal, then we're not. If we did sign him, we've not got them coming around trying to get him offers. You know what I mean? I mean, it'd have been that, like, he's a great player. It'd have been nice to sign him, but if you're gonna stand there and put a gun to my head, who's better, Kanate or Dean Huijsen? It's definitely Kanate, isn't it? I mean, the only thing you could say that Huijsen's got on his side is age, and obviously they would be looking more towards the Van Dijk replacement rather than Kanate replacement with Dean. Yeah, I mean, I'm not bothered. I'm glad in a way it's gone so quickly, because we've not had the window where we've sort of maybe gone into a bidding war with its club to try and get him in, or he's gone to like a rival in terms of a Premier League rival like Chelsea or whoever. City weren't interested, but
it could have been a little bit like the Euro situation, couldn't it? Really?
Yeah.
We gave up on Euro, didn't we? Because thinking he was going to Real Madrid.
Yeah. So I'm not. I'd rather just get the Kanate thing sorted out, but we do need another. We need some sort of centre back coming in some form, I think.
But yeah, I'll quickly move on from that one. So I don't give a shit about Real Madrid. Fuck them. Fuck Real Madrid. That is my daily statement of fuck Real Madrid today. So let's go on to Florian Wirtz then. Florian Wirtz, according to Melissa Reddy, Liverpool would be looking to seize the opportunity that wasn't expected to be given. Wirtz was due to remain in Germany. Bayern and Man City have done the heavy pushing and pursuing thus far. They were also backed up by Sport Build. Liverpool are serious about snatching Florian Wirtz away from Bayern. Even though Bayern and Wirtz are said to be have reached an agreement in principle, a tough transfer negotiation looms with the Leverkusen, who want 150 million euros for Wirtz. I think what the reports were saying is they want 150 million euros for Wirtz from Bayern, but when it comes to Liverpool, they're only asking 120 million euros. Reece, is that if that's what Bundesliga clubs have to do to rid of Bayern, then that's what they have to do. But do you see Bayern playing it anyway?
I still think Bayern are slight favourites, but I do think they've messed up a bit, because obviously it come up. I think that his family and his camp are not happy that it's kind of made it seem like he's already agreed to go to them. So that's kind of making it seem like he doesn't want to leave in a bad light with Bayer Leverkusen. And
you don't want to look like Trent.
He doesn't want to look like a traitor, and I'm assuming that him and his family, they don't really conduct themselves in that way. So I think he's not. It's from what it sounds like, he's not happy about it. Obviously, that doesn't mean shut the door of Bayern, but they're not happy with the arrogance of how they've kind of tried to conduct business. If Bayern don't get him, I still put City slightly ahead of us, because I think they've put the groundwork in over the last few months. Obviously, if you look at it, it's a no-brainer for them in terms of that would be a direct replacement for De Bruyne, and that's what they kind of need. I think we have a chance. I just don't see us paying the money. That's the only thing. Because if you were going to pay the money, then why don't you pay the money for Isak as well at the same time? You see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I think he's a great player, and I'll take him, and 100%. Szoboszlai, I'll drop back into the sixth position alongside Gravenberch. That's what I'll do. And then I'll have McAllister and Wirtz competing for the 10. And then you've got Curtis Jones, you've got Gravenberch, you've got Szoboszlai potentially might not even need a 6 if that was to happen. Maybe not.
I think we need more so of a 6 because of how attacking our fullbacks are.
No, but you got to remember, Szoboszlai defensively on the ball, he's not great going forward. Defensively, he has that physicality in our midfield. But I still would put us as third favourites because we ain't put the groundwork in. We may have come in just now, but Liverpool always kind of sitting on the fence, like they're watching a movie, observing instead of kind of getting a bit more stuck in.
You say that, Reece, about the groundwork and about we haven't been doing it since. I'll bring this up. This is what I wanted to bring up last night because I spoke about it last night and I brought up the wrong screenshot last night. I brought up a different article on Wirtz as well. So this one back in 2021, by my intro when I said LFC transfer at the moment. So I did write for LFC transfer and host LFC transfer room. So this is an article I wrote in 2021 for Sports Illustrated. Reports from Germany are suggesting that Liverpool remain in close contact with Florian Wirtz's parents. Will the youngster arrive in at Anfield? So that's 2021, 4 years ago. We were at least speaking to his parents about a move. So there has been contact there with his parents for that length of time. We might have not pushed hard in terms of a deal or anything like that, but it does show good quite light there now, doesn't it? That we have fought ahead for once.
But we are monitoring FC, aren't we? Yeah.
Maybe we just wanted to sign his parents.
Tell you what, honestly, we are the loudest club ever when the transfer window's closed, aren't we? Like, we're linked with everyone. You know, we just... to be honest, look, here's what I think about it. I don't think we'll sign him. I'll be honest with you. But I'm on it, yeah, obviously. But I'm not stupid. I'm not saying anyone's stupid that believes it. I just think that I've been here too many times. I know what it's going to be like. You know, I don't know if it's some sort of smokescreen for someone else. That's what I think it could be. But if we were to sign him, what a statement signing that would be. Because it takes him away from a rival in City. I mean, you could also argue Bayern as well. If we ever come against him in Champions League, we just took, you know, probably the next big midfielder for the next 8-9 years, whatever. You know, because of his age and his profile and how good he's been at Leverkusen, it'd be great. It'd be unbelievable signing, but I don't know. I think the money will be spent on a striker, but probably I think it's just throwing a hat in sort of thing at the minute. We'll see over the next couple of weeks because the transfer window's not open yet. We'll see what happens.
I said it last night. I can't physically and mentally get myself involved in getting excited over it because, like I said, I've started too many campfires last night. I've started too many campfires and burnt my hands many times. I'd rather just sit on the marshmallow and let it burn that way and let it warm up that way than start a campfire again. Will Leverkusen sell to another German team seems illogical. Well, you'd say that, Paolo, but buy everyone from the German teams.
Until I see it, here we go. I'm done. I'm not. I mean, I'm not.
That's not even enough for me. That is not enough for me. I've seen Nabil Fekir basically video on the Liverpool fucking website doing a medical.
Liverpool pulled the plug on that though. So
I'm not doing anything until I see him taking a throw in.
Liverpool pulled the plug on that. That one, his team that pulled the plug on that. That was Liverpool.
But that's what I'm saying. Even no matter what happens, someone comes in and stops it. And it's usually the fee. It's usually the fee that really hurts us.
We all got PTSD then, but I think you got serious PTSD from Liverpool. I think
I'm just not being gaslighted, mate. I'm not being gaslighted. There's been too many times. I've got into too many arguments over on Twitter over people that think we're going to sign major signings.
Here we go, and I see Ornstein. Yeah,
and we'll be the first. By the way, if it does happen, get notification bells on. We'll be the first to report it.
More looking at.
I'll before Paul Joyce. I'll be in there before Paul Joyce. That tapping merchant.
I've got a question for you both, right?
Go for it.
So obviously, Ryan Cherky's got a really low release clause. It's 0.5 million euros. So would you take? And this sounds weird me saying this. Would you take like a Florian Wirtz and maybe possibly like another possibly 2 signings, but you're not going to get a premium striker. You're going to get I don't know who will get anyway. Or would you take Cherky and Alvarez or an Isak? What would you rather take?
You want to go first, Dame, or me?
Depending who it is, right? If it was definitely Isak, I'd be taking Isak because we need a striker more. I said this last night. Some person in the comments saying which is more important, which is the signing you would take. Alvarez, I think about Alvarez, Rodrygo, Wirtz, and Isak. I said Isak because he's the best striker in the world for me right now, and we need a striker more so than anything else. But yeah, I'd take that. And that's no offense to Wirtz. Wirtz is my dream signing. He was on my dream signings stream. Him and Isak together. Go on,
Yeah,
Reece.
dream, yeah. I remember that.
I'll take the what's it, Isak or Alvarez, and then the Leon number 10.
Okay.
I could see. Don't get me wrong. I could see if he was to get Wirtz, that means he probably might do a false 9, something like that. But then you've got Diaz as that option as well. But my thing is, when the false 9 runs out of steam, or you come across a stumbling block, and you ain't got that natural striker or that killer, you're gonna have a problem. But I would, in an ideal world, you take Wirtz and then you take a Isak or Alvarez, and then for me the title's retained for me. But yeah.
Isak
I'll let you just have a little read of that AC/DC. I know. I really like AC/DC because I used to remember AC/DC coming on to LFC Transfer when I had hosted on then. So big shout out to AC/DC. But Isak is not LFC standard, Naj.
I think that's a wild comment still, but you're entitled to your opinion. But I think that's a wild.
Is that a bit? I don't know if he's capping. I don't know if he's being serious or not here.
I mean, what LFC standard is at the minute, strikers is frigging Mikel Merino outscoring both of them. So
my question back to that would be, if Isak's not our standard, who is Liverpool standard for a striker then? Because the striker pool is quite limited. It's not like there's great strikers out there. That's what my question would be to AC/DC.
Well, he said there, I will get Alvarez in exchange for Darwin and Kirkes, Frimpong and Wirtz. And a lot of respect also ACD. So thank you so much for joining us today, mate. But yeah, Alvarez, big comment there about Isak though. I think Isak's the best striker right now in the world for me in terms of especially form. I think he's better than Haaland. I think he offers more than Haaland. I think he's the striker that everyone thought Núñez was.
He's a complete striker. That's what I think he is. He's left foot, right foot. He can hit it from anywhere. Headers. He's just what I like about him as well is he's got a good touch and like the way he holds the ball up. But I always refer back to the Arsenal game when he played against Arsenal. Like he made Gabriel and Saliba look like little kids. He was bullied. And you've not really seen that of Haaland. He doesn't really do that, to be honest. I mean, he is a physical specimen. He's massive, isn't he? But you don't really see him bullying in that sort of way at Isak did. Like they didn't want to go near him at all. I think that's what I think. I agree with you. Isak's the best striker in the world for me at the minute. Like, obviously you can argue that Mbappe is and whoever is in the La Liga, but I'll just put the point across. Bilbao, 4th in the Liga, got battered 7-1 by United. So please don't refer to that league as being anywhere near the Prem anymore, because it isn't. But yeah, Isak's just a different gravy.
Even Van Dijk headaches as well.
Yeah, he was exactly giving Van Dijk.
He's the only striker in the Prem that has given Van Dijk headaches from what I've seen, where it's made it look like, oh, Van Dijk is human, or he can have an off day kind of thing,
Yeah.
You could have Isak for 40 million and Edwards didn't buy him. If it's 40 million, mate, I don't think anyone in the world won't try it. I think even Mansfield would try a little bit. They'd probably take a loan out or something just to at least try. I think everyone in the world would try for Isak at £40 million. So, going on to further reports today, Liverpool are involved in multiple conversations about potential acquisitions in the summer transfer window, according to Ornstein. So, multiple positions. Arne Slot and his team are prioritising a left back, a right back, a centre back, and a centre forward, according to Sky Sports Germany. No centre midfielder, Naj.
Told you, Pachetic. Told you. I knew. I told you ages ago that it'd be that Pachetic. I just said I just had a feeling it'd be that because he's sort of probably looking at that side of things. I think Endo's coming, by the way. I don't think he'll stay. I think I've seen that reports of him wanting to go. Well, not him. Teams in Germany wanting to go back to play in Germany. But I think Pachetic should be the one as rotation for Gravenberch, and I think I hope it. I mean, I like Pachetic, but I hope it goes well. I really do, because it needs to go well for the.
Didn't he pick up an injury? I heard the other day, and so did one of our other targets, Stiller. I'm sure he got injured on the weekend. I heard it could be ligament. So my question, Dame, who else would you go for then? Because Stiller was the one potentially.
I'll tell you the recent report then on that situation. Adam Wharton. Liverpool are monitoring the situation of Adam Wharton.
What that means, sitting on the sidelines watching.
Daily Mail. Monitoring as the word monitoring is back, but he's a different journalist I've not seen before. A male journalist in the northern journalist called Jack Gorn. He has said that we're monitoring. I didn't want to see that word. I didn't want to see that word this summer. Monitoring. I don't want to see that or opportunistic. I don't want to see those words this summer. Barcelona, Real Madrid, Liverpool, and Man City all adore Adam Wharton. Now Adore's coming in. This is again another English language special. It is thought that Crystal Palace could fetch around £60 million for the midfielder this summer. I didn't expect that low of a number, to be honest with you. £60 million.
I think that's the starting. I think that's the starting point. That's what I think. That's the starting point.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it will probably end up being something like 80 to 90, which is English tax. It's just how it goes. Especially if there's a bidding more, because there's a few teams interested, they can kind of demand more, unless he decides to make noise and say, apply pressure that I kind of want to leave. But I don't expect him to try and leave in that kind of way.
Being at £60 million on Ash, you know for a fact Liverpool are coming in with £45 million on a packet of Watsits. You know for a fact that's going to be the first bid from Liverpool.
Yeah.
How much do you actually think then would actually prize them away from Palace?
I think what Reece said, 80 mil. I think it'll be 80 mil. English tax, you got to think, so it's 10, 20%. Yeah.
Could be an FA Cup in his bag.
Yeah, I mean, if he wins the FA Cup, it's going to be even more expensive because they'll have orchestrated him. Like, oh, well, he's won us this, so we're losing our best midfielder. It'll just be something like that. But I like Adam Wharton, and I would, if we sign him, I'd be like, yeah, sound, but 80 million, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think, am I just being like, sort of thinking, oh, you can go get that same talent somewhere else in the world for cheaper? Or is it the fact that, like, paying 80 million for Adam Wharton's mad? Like, I think he's brilliant, though. But I just don't know. That tax, isn't it? The English tax just always gets me a little bit. Like, I just think, I'm pretty sure you got, like, a great example of English tax is Harry Maguire. Like, Harry Maguire in desperation for United. No way Leicester wouldn't have sold Harry Maguire for 80 million if it had been like 6 months later or whatever. Like, they'd have took 50, they'd have took 40. But that tax, it just gets me. But Adam Wharton, yeah, he's a very talented young man. And I don't know. I just don't know about 80 million, though. I think if we're looking at it and he's not sold by the end of the window, you maybe throw your hat in at 60. If you get him, you get him. I don't know.
Do you think the same could have been said about Declan Rice? The tax?
Yeah, I think Rice is a bit better than Wharton, though. When Arsenal bought Declan Rice, he was already captain of, West Ham. He'd taken him to European glory, whether it be the conference. Still, him and Bowen were West Ham's best players, weren't they? Like, in them years when they were there. But yeah, I think Declan Rice probably was right at 100 million. I think he'd probably be 80 million, but that English tax would have been
I think Rice right now is better than Wharton, but I think Wharton's got a higher ceiling.
Yeah.
Than Rice, do you?
Yeah, I do. I think he's better on the ball. Can offer more, but I do think Rice is obviously the more experienced player. He's achieved more, and I think it would make sense, even though I'll take Wharton. I think it makes sense for him to stay at Palace for another year. I think it's unlikely that anyone gets him because of the price. I think he stays another season and probably next season. That's what
I think Wharton's a specialist 6. Rice is just a complete midfielder.
Yeah.
And I remember, I've mentioned LFC Transfer Room a few times. I remember hosting the show, or being a guest on a show at least 5 years ago. Must have been 4 or 5 years ago now, back in 2021 or something like that. And I said, and this was when Rice was number 6, I said, he'll be classed as number 8. And I said, because we were talking about England, him playing for England, and buying him at Liverpool, I wanted him to get him for Liverpool. I said, right, we should get Rice, right? He's a brilliant 8. It reminds me of Gerrard, the way he can go up and down the pitch. And then we've seen him now. He is like the 8 at Arsenal, and he's scoring goals. He's doing everything. I think he's much more of a complete midfielder than Wharton specifically. So he's by far a better midfielder for me. But again, Wharton's that special six. And now I'm going to ask you a question about, because if our fullbacks are going to be Kirkes, for example, attacking fullback, Frimpong, attacking fullback, I think that defensive-minded DM is even more so important, Naj. If we don't get that, we're going to have big gaps.
Yeah, I mean, I did say, like, I know it sounds wild, but I do think the last position we need to strengthen would be probably either centre-back or midfield. I think the most important ones are obviously I think striker, like I agree with you, Dave. Like the striker is the one. Like that is the essential one. And then obviously left back. I think it's weird, isn't it, talking about it, because we're Saturday now. We're what, in May the 15th. I don't know where we are. May the 16th. Whatever. I don't know what day we're on.
Yeah, go on.
But we're sat here, and obviously the transfer window opens on the 1st of June. But we're sat here and we don't know who's going. And that's sort of what it depends on a little bit. I do think we'll get a bit of money off FSG, but I think it is very dependent on who goes as well. But it's just so hard. Like I can't actually think of. I want to get one, but I think, them players who went through the other day, them 7 or 8 players, they leave. I think we've got an opportunity to get one, but I don't think now.
Kirk has got a release clause. I don't think he has.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't think he has. Not to my recollection, anyway.
I think that
again,
the
money that is going to probably go for Kirk is, I'd say, about 40, 50 million.
Yeah.
I think it depends on, again, who else Bournemouth let go. Huijsen's already gone.
Perfect.
So they're getting 50 million off him. If they try to keep some money, they don't want to lose too many players here. And if
Maybe
they do,
not, but
they want as much back as they can for him.
Do they have a choice?
Well, apart from the release clause, like Huijsen's a release clause, isn't it?
No, but I'm saying you're Bournemouth for a stepping stone. So when a bigger club comes in, you know kind of what's going to happen. They're like a Southampton.
I do apologise, Bournemouth fans.
Yeah.
No disrespect. I'm just being honest. They are. It's not like they're challenging for the league, are they? Are they challenging for Champions League? What's their aspirations? It's to stay in the Premier League. So when you've got really good players and they start performing above their level, the Sharks are gonna circle. And they got a few good players there. So Man United are being linked with Semedo. Liverpool probably Kirk, as you're seeing Huijsen there to Real Madrid. Yeah, they don't want to lose too many, but they do have a good underrated coach. With that money, they probably will invest it correctly, and they'll end up getting players that you ain't heard of, and they'll replace them. They'll be the next ones.
And I think the more they lose, the more they'll want for the players, because they'll need to replace them. Going out there and getting a Semenyo replacement is not easy. Going out there and get a Kirk is not for a team like Bournemouth. As you said, a stepping stone in your words. I might not say those words, but I think Bournemouth could actually push European football if they build on what they've got, and if they do the recruitment rightly. Like Huijsen's gone, that's a big loss. Kirk is probably going to go, that's a big loss. If they keep Semenyo, keep players like Evan Nielsen, keep players like Carl Evert, keep players like that, then build the defence again, I think they can push for Europe.
I think it's only to keep hold of Areola, though. I think as well. If they don't keep hold of him, I think they're going to struggle a bit. But I think, one player that I don't think anyone spoke about, and it's probably like wild card this, may come back to this in 4 years' time. Alex Scott, the midfielder that plays for Bournemouth, I think he's got a real high ceiling in him. I think he'll be one in the next couple of years that people will be looking at going, wow. I remember playing the X-Does, he looked pretty decent as well. But yeah, I think Bournemouth is, if they lose the left-hand side of the defence, I think, if you argue this, right, they lost their main man last year in Solanke, and they were better. So I don't think they're going to be bad if they lose them two. I don't think they're going to suffer that much. They keep all the Zabani. They've still got most of the old squad there as well. I think they'll be okay. But yeah, I think Kirkes is the one to buy for us. I think that is set in stone for not for us to buy, but I think set in stone for us to go for, basically. It just makes perfect sense to me.
Right. Speaking of Bournemouth and speaking of Areola, let's get on to the Manager of the Season awards, the Player of the Season awards, and the Young Player of the Season awards, because they have the nominations and the shortlist have been revealed. We're not going to give it ours just yet. We're going to have a proper awards show on here, by the way, guys. So make sure you do like this video, subscribe to the channel, and smash and get the notification bell on, because we're going to have an award show, a special award show coming up in the next couple of weeks. But today we're going to talk about the actual who's been nominated and who hasn't been nominated, who should have been nominated. So this is the manager of the season: Thomas Frank of Brentford, Eddie Howe of Newcastle, Nuno, Pereira, and Arne Slot. I'm not going to ask you who you think your winner's going to be. Is there anyone on there that should be on there, do you think, Naj, first and foremost?
Do you know what? I wouldn't disagree with anyone on that, to be honest. I actually think every single person, Iriola needs to get on there, I would say. But I wouldn't disagree with anyone being on there. Did it used to be more than that for manager of the season? There used to be more nominations.
I don't know, you know. It's normally more for players.
Yeah. I don't know. It's I don't know if it's because I've seen players. I think Thomas Frank definitely gets a shout because he does wonders with that Brentford team. He hasn't played such good football as well. Eddie Howe. Eddie Howe, yeah, he's done well.
Eddie Howe absolutely is. You know what the funny thing is about Eddie Howe? How much he got doubted. There were a lot of people saying, well, now they've got to that next level, they need a manager that's next level.
Yeah.
And he's proven them wrong massively.
I like that, though. He's only a young coach as well. Like, if you think about it, was he like mid-40s or something like that? I like how he's proven everyone wrong as well. I do like that. Nuno, I mean, to get Forest, I literally put a video on YouTube saying that they're going to get relegated. To get them into like Europe this season is actually insane. Like, I mean, they've obviously had a struggle at the minute, but obviously if they win the next two games, they still get top five. So it's in their hands, really, isn't it? I mean, if they get Champions League, then I think it would be a toss-up between a certain other person. But Pereira's been brilliant since he's come in for Wolves as well. But yeah, I don't know who the last one is. The last one, I can't remember his name on there. I don't know.
Answers on a postcard, please. Reese, where's Arteta?
I'm not going to comment too much about Arteta. I think the managers there, I can't complain about any of them. I'm happy to see Thomas Frank there because I think he goes under the radar. If you look at the job he's been doing at Brentford, I know they always have kind of up and down results. They go through stages where they're winning quite a few games. They're quite entertaining as well. So a lot of the time they're in games where there are a few goals. But what I like about them is that they always, a lot of the time, they usually win their home games, especially against teams who are around them. And I think he's done quite a solid job there. Before we got Slot and we was looking at high profile managers like Alonso and what was his name? Ruben Amorim and whatnot. He was someone I was going to say we should have looked at because I think he's a very good manager, very underrated. So it's kind of nice to see him getting those accolades there. Obviously, Eddie Howe, I'm not surprised that. Nuno, I'm not surprised that he's done an amazing job. Obviously, it looks they should still get Europe, but it looks like they're not gonna. It looks like they're gonna just miss out on the Champions League because of their form's kind of been quite shaky the last few weeks. And obviously, Pereira's done a great job since he's come in. So yeah.
I feel a bit bad for Nuno. He's not going to get the manager season. I think we're quite obvious. It's going to be for the manager of the season. Yeah. I feel quite bad for Nuno not getting that. If they get Champions League football, that's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. From going from, and I say this, they've gone from playoff final a few years ago. I don't know when it was, a couple of years ago. Because they beat Huddersfield, my hometown, Huddersfield. They beat them in the final and they cheated them. And I remember town fans crying about it. They still can't stand Nottingham Forest because of it. And now they're getting potentially European football. And if they got Champions League, they've absolutely blown it, by the way, the last couple of weeks. Brentford at home and Leicester at home the last two games, and they've got 1 point. That's ridiculous. But yeah, I think I would love Forest to get Champions League football. Absolutely love it. And it's a shame that for Nuno, for this specific award, that Slot's here.
Yeah. I think, I'd say this, if this was Slot's second and Nuno did what he did, and Slot did what he did, I still think, I think that Nuno would win it then. But it's the fact that Slot has come in, bought an Italian guy who doesn't want to play, and won the league. Like, that is just Yeah, has any manager done that and that amount of funds not being backed at all? I don't think anyone has. I think Mourinho, when he won it in his first season, he spent loads and he got a big squad. Conte, I can't remember who else just won it in the first season.
Not like the way Slot's done it.
No, yeah. So I mean, I've not seen anyone win it like Slot's done, where he's come in and that's it. Like he's literally come in and just won it with nothing. Well, not nothing. He's inherited a brilliant squad, but he's come in and like to get that across to all the players so quickly. I mean, it's insane, isn't it? Really, people don't like to give him credit for that, and it's Klopp's team. But look at United when David Moyes took over. Look at all these other teams. They all have good players, and then just so happens that we end up getting a good manager and we win the league first season.
Funny says Huijsen is rejecting Madrid to join us. To respond to that, just read out your own name for that response there. I wish, mate. I wish, absolutely wish, but it's not going to happen. I think it's pretty much done to Real Madrid, and we're pretty much done with Frimpong as well. If you are just joining us, make sure you go back to the beginning and find out that Frimpong is close to Liverpool. Huijsen is pretty much done to Real Madrid. So that is the major breaking news today. So young player of the season, I don't like this young player of the season, because I don't think over 21 should really be involved in it for me. Ilanga 23, Gravenberch 22. I'm not a big fan of that. Lewis Skelly missing out. It's a big of a... I know he's only played half season, but it's incredible half season.
In Saliba 24.
I was going to say.
Saliba, potentially, yeah, 1 second.
I think there should be a category that's breakout star, breakout season. So you have young player of the season, but you have breakout. I think Gravenberch would kind of fall into that bracket.
Yeah.
Breakout season.
Breakout could be under 25.
Saliba is 24. Yes, you are absolutely right.
What's he doing there then? Get his bus pass.
Maybe because he was 23 before the season started. He was 24 in March. I just think that's ridiculous. That's not a young player of the season for me. For me, it's 21 and under. Maybe if it's the first season in the Premier League and they're under 23, I can give that potentially. But I'm not a fan of that. I mean, Lewis Skelly missing out, I think it's a very harsh on him. I think he's only played half season, but so has Gravenberch. Gravenberch only played half a season in terms of his form. He dipped second half a season, but Lewis Skelly should definitely be in there, especially over Saliba.
Yeah, I'd agree with that over Saliba. I don't think over any other of the nominations there. I think there's a few that I've missed out though. Do you know what? Honestly, if I'm going to, without being biased or anything like that, I think that it's either between Morgan Rogers or Ryan Gravenberch. But just looking at that list, I think
you would think with the narrative though, don't be surprised if Palmer wins it.
Yeah.
Because you see
how voting is Gary Neville. Does Gary Neville get a vote?
Not just Gary Neville, Carragher, whoever it is. You see how they speak about Palmer, and they've not, like I said, the second half of the season he's been quiet like a ghost, and no one's criticised him. Similar to Foden, there ain't been no criticism.
Honestly, really, really does my head in that. I'm always quite vocal about that on my own live and stuff. Like, people think like the sun shines out of Foden's backside and stuff like that. And same with Palmer now. I don't understand it. I don't get the criticism that other players get from other teams. Like if that was, we just had one here, Trent. Everyone's telling us how to feel about him. And all people have done, all the media have done, is call him shite at defending and saying he can't do anything, saying he's not good enough to play there and stuff like that. But when it comes to Palmer and Foden dropping stinking all frigging season, you hear nothing about it. And that's what really, really frustrates me, that actually. I'm glad you brought out Reece, because it really annoys me. If I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think Palmer should be on that list. I
don't think so either.
He had a starts the season, but he was shite after that.
He ain't maintained it. Yeah, 100%.
I think just remembering the game he had against us, because he was sensational against us. I can't lie.
Which game?
2 weeks ago.
Oh, I thought you meant the Anfield game. He was nowhere to be seen.
No, 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I think it.
But can you really count that game? We didn't care about that game. That's why he was sensational. That's why Chelsea even got a result against us, because we weren't bothered. We were on the beach. We were drunk.
Yeah.
And they still just about beat us. We could have even pinched a draw there if Nunes knew how to finish his dinner. But let's not get into Nunes,
We'll leave that for a separate stream completely. Nunes rant for Reece. But yeah, there's some good. Morgan Rogers
unbelievable.
I would love
Unbelievable.
Liverpool to get someone like him as well. If we aren't going for someone, if we want someone like a Wirtz, if we want that position specifically, and Wirtz obviously ain't available, Simmons is talked about, Shirky's, Rodgers should be also be on the list as well.
How much do you think you would have to pay Villa though to sway them? You're going to be English.
No more than Wirtz.
It's going to be
So
around
the
60
thing about
million.
Wirtz-
I think it's going to be around 60 million. I think something like that. I think he's a talented player, but I ain't paying that for him. He's not worth that yet. But I just think that's the English tax.
I definitely think though on that list, I'm glad Delap's got been recognised because he's done really good for Ipswich. Like, you know, I actually thought Ipswich would do all right this season. They did actually towards the start. They just couldn't win, could they? They just kept getting very close. But Delap, you know, he deserves a massive shout out. Been brilliant this season for that team. You know, it looks like he's probably going to go and ruin his career by going to United. Yeah, Alanga, another one as well, being great this season. I think he's had a really good whole season. He's not had he's not been prolific in any way, shape, or form, but the way he's worked for that Forest team, you know, he's him and Hudson-Odoi this year have been so. What's the word I'm looking for? They've just been so good for that team. But yeah, I mean, Dean House has been good as well. I think there's a few, like Palmer shouldn't be on there. I don't think Palmer should be on there. I think João Pedro, that's an interesting one because he has been good when he has played, but he's been so let in and out of like playing and stuff like that. Maybe, I don't know. It's a weird one, but I think Morgan Rodgers, Gravenberch this season, what they've done for their teams, where they've pulled their teams to, I think there's no argument that you could say it's probably between them two, I would say.
I'm just going to bring this up from Abdul. Pre thoughts for Taiwo Iwone. Absolutely, Abdul, because obviously the injury that suffered on Sunday, the absolute incident that should never, ever have happened. And I've mentioned this a few times where linesmen's put the flag up late. This can be avoidable, and this was always going to happen at some point. And I've been saying it for years and years when they put them late, and it's going to eventually cause an accident one day. And that's what happened on Sunday. Medical team made a mistake, didn't bring him off, carried on playing on, and now is in an induced coma. So yeah, absolutely. Hope he recovers very, very quickly and very, very soon. Certainly on that.
I read that he woke up from his coma.
That's good news then. So there is positives there.
What will likely happen though is that because something's happened now they'll change the rule. Whereas
it's not good. Yeah.
It shouldn't take for something like this to happen, you know.
And I feel for like the linesman is just following the rules. He's going to feel guilty for that specific thing.
Yeah.
He shouldn't have to do that. Rule should never be in a rule. If it's a clear offside, to me, up straight away. No going about it. Hi, David, Naj, Reese, and chat. How are you all doing? Also, how is the family, friends, and loved ones? Blessings, greetings, and respect to every Liverpool fan across the world. Diversity and multicultural. You'll never walk alone. Adul, I appreciate you every single day coming in, my friend. I hope you are well, and we are all good. Hope your family are good too, mate. But yeah, is this an easy pick for you, young player of the year? I'm not going to ask you who it's going to be, but do you think it's an easy pick, Naj?
I don't think it. I think this is more. I think this is more difficult because I don't think there's as much to pick from in a way.
Yeah.
Do you know? But if it was me, between Morgan Rodgers and Gravenberch, I think they've both been probably the best in their positions this year. So, I mean, if Morgan Rodgers won it, I'd have no problems with it. But if Cole Palmer wins it, I'll be like...
If Cole Palmer wins it, expect me and Naj to be on a live stream as soon as it's announced. Right, player of the year nominations. Gibbs White, Gravenberch, Isak Mbeumo, Rice, Salah, Van Dijk, Chris Wood. Who is missing out there, Reese? That shouldn't be missing
clear
out.
one that's not there's McAllister. Like, what's going on here?
I want this needs to be said, right? Because
that's nasty work there.
I don't want to put the Gravenberch down, but he's been better than Gravenberch this season. I think he's been our best midfielder this season.
There's someone who shouldn't be on there, and he's in the bottom left. He shouldn't be there, Declan Rice. He should not be there. I think about the whole season. He was stinking at the start of the season. He was absolutely stinking the gaff out. He wasn't good. He wasn't good at all.
I think he's been one of their best players, though.
But he's been
I think he's kept them going.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I think he's been. If you had to pick someone from their team,
they are second in the league here now. They have they have so many injuries.
He's the one that carried them to the semis. He kind of put them on. he put Arsenal on his back for those 2 games against Real Madrid.
But that's in
This is Premier League, though.
Trying to get at. That's what I put our TikTok out before. Is like, because he scored 2 free kicks against Real Madrid, that shouldn't mean he should get in Premier League team this season. Listen, I think Declan Rice is brilliant, and I think he's fantastic, and I think there's probably a space for him on there in other seasons. But I think you left that aside. Morgan Rogers could be on that more than Declan Rice, and McAllister's missing out on it. I just think it's kind of like, let's just throw an Arsenal player in there. But yeah, I agree that he has been Arsenal's probably best player this season. Yeah, but also saying that Gabriel's been better than him.
I was about to say that, Gabriel.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, my bad. I was
about to say Gabriel.
I might have to backpedal there. Gabriel, I completely.
Both Saliba and Rice are in for nominations. Gabriel isn't.
Exactly, and Gabriel's probably been their best player all season. In fact, he has been their best player all season.
I take that back. Still, Gabriel's probably been the number 1. Rice probably second, but it's because Gabriel's injured in it. That's why I think maybe.
I hate to say it, boys, and I can't stand him. The rat, but he has had a good season. Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah, I agree.
He has, but the only thing is where United are in the league, you can't really put any of their players there. You can't warrant that. They're near the relegation area. Do any of you disagree with any of the other names there apart from Rice?
I'm glad Morgan Gibbs-White's got on it because he's been brilliant, and I'm glad Chris.
Yeah.
I think what I would do probably with this list, right, is I'd take off Declan Rice and put Gabriel. I'd probably take Gravenberch off and leave him just on the young player this season, and I think that list would be fine then.
I think Caicedo has a shout.
Yeah.
For the whole season.
Yeah, for the whole season. Caicedo, for me, again, a bit like Rice at Arsenal, has kept him in there. And he wasn't even in the young player of the year. He's 23.
I think
he's been better than Palmer.
I think when at right back, when he's been in midfield, he's had some smelly games. He made some silly mistakes. I think when he's done the inverting or he's played at right back, I think he's been good. But there has been games where he's been found wanting or making mistakes and whatnot. He's been good, but I wouldn't say throughout the whole season that he's stuck at that level, that high level of performing for me.
Big up, like and subscribe, said Kazia. Great show, lads. Thank you, Kazia. Make sure you do like, as he's just said, like the video, subscribe to the channel. It would help us out massively. Thank you, everyone, for watching so far. Should be solid, no doubt. I'm not even going to ask. Also, we're going to do it on the award show and things like that. I think I'm not even going to bother saying, don't tell me who you think it is. I think it's quite obvious. Everyone's going to vote who it should be. I think any other given season, though, Van Dijk wins it.
Possibly.
If Salah wasn't there, take Salah out. Van Dijk wins it for me.
Van Dijk win it if Salah wasn't there. I think that's right. It's a weird one this season because, like, you could essentially have 4 or 5 Liverpool players in there, but I don't think you would. That would never happen in the play.
Yeah.
The 4 would be obviously, 3 that are on there now. Probably grab them. Probably McAllister. I will say one person who I feel is quite missed out a little bit on.
Please be the same person I'm thinking of.
Canate. He's missed out. I don't know what accolades.
Oh, I'm not thinking Canate.
Alisson as well. I mean, you can't. I think Alisson that goes under the radar because he was out injured for like 2 months of the season. But I think Canate obviously had a bit of a really good start to the season. Let's think of it. Canate is probably the best centre back in the league up until Christmas to get injured, and Palmer's on the list, and Canate isn't. And by the way, Canate is the same age as Saliba, so just going to put that out.
Yeah. What about Tonali?
Oh, Tonali.
Ooh, that's weird. That's one that's maybe.
And I remember we did a season predictions 2 seasons ago. When we did a season predictions in our last chat piece, and Tonali was my signing of the season. When they signed him, Tonali was my signing of the season. I thought he would change Newcastle the way they work and the way they hope. I think they'd change the whole team for me, Tonali. And then he had his ban, and I thought that's typical. Me picking a silent season, he gets a fucking bang like that. And then now he's finally showing why I picked him as a silent season. He has been unbelievable.
He's brilliant. He's always been good though, but I think now we're getting to see it all because of, he's obviously not sat on Bet365 all day and stuff, but he's actually playing football now. He's brilliant, honestly, and I think he's
There are other bookmakers around.
yeah. Sorry, there's this. Billy Hill, and there you go. But he is so good in that midfield with Bruno Guimaraes and Joe Linton. Like they're all. I think as a good argument, right? I think Liverpool have had the best midfield this year, and I think that's why we've won the league and Salah as well. We've been the best team, but let's just say that instead of making it hard. But I think the second best, or if not almost as matched, is probably Newcastle midfield. Brilliant. They're absolutely fantastic. They're scary because like they're all runners, they're all quick, they're all fast, they all love to get in the end of things. They're an all action midfield, and I love watching them actually. I think that's like the Newcastle. I think obviously Isak's the jewel, isn't he? But I think they're the crown, they're the gold. That's what them three are. But yeah, I'd love to say Tonali could be in that list as well. Actually, if you could let's have 25 nominations, we'll get them all in.
just the whole Liverpool squad, bar Nunes,
Yeah,
including Chiesa. By the way, Chiesa should have a shout as well.
Yeah.
Right, we'll wrap it up there then, boys. Thank you everyone for joining us tonight. Thank you everyone for getting your comments in as well. Zakia, Kazia, ACDC, Abdul came in as well. Palo in every single night is Palo. Absolutely love you, mate, for coming in, and everyone else as well. Funny came in. A few new people coming in tonight into the comments as well. Even a Real Madrid fan came in. Welcome everyone that has come in tonight. Welcome everyone that has been in every single night. I appreciate you all so much. Make sure you do like the video. Helps out massively in terms of growth of YouTube. If just liking the video gets us out there into the YouTube universe, and hopefully we grow and bigger and bigger. Thank you everyone for subbing so far as well. 362 subs so far. Our target is to get 500 subscribers as quick as we can. Thank you everyone for subbing so far. Make sure you do subscribe if you are new. And I'll speak to you all very, very soon. Get your notification bells on as well, because it will